My coffee should be ready here in a minute, and then I will feel like living. Okay. So, just basically, I'm gonna focus on Euro today. It's gonna be a brief video. A lot of y'all been trying out or working with Ichimoku and the four binary options. I am definitely not awake. So I'm gonna go through again a little bit of a review of how I'm using it. Again, guys, this is how I trade. If you have something that's working for you, stick with it, use it. This is just an example of how I trade. It can either give you some ideas. I mean, whatever. It's not something you absolutely have to do, just so people can see how I look at it. So this is the Ichi chart for Euro. It looks like we had a nice little rundown, and then it slowly went into a little bit, if you're looking at the cloud, a little bit of an uptrend. But if we zoom in on that just a tad bit, it's more of a range. What I'm seeing on here that I don't like, and we'll be concentrating on this section here, because now we look like we're starting to get a run again, is if you look at T and K. Hold on. Okay, so if you look at T and K on your screen, they're not really spread apart. They're almost braiding, which means they're crossing over on each other all the time. You, for me, the first thing I do is when I'm going to be trading bins with Ichimoku, I look for a little bit more of a trend than this. This is almost flat, and it's a range for me. If we look back one chart, this is how I'd be trading this today, because if we look without the cloud there, the blue line here is Kinjinsen, but price is going in and out of it, in and out of it. These are Bollinger Bands. So it definitely, I mean, it quite obviously it shows a nice range to work with. So if I'm trading ranges, I trade a different type of system than if I'm trading Ichimoku pullbacks. This is basically all I'm going to cover today. I like to do things step by step in little blocks so I don't overwhelm anyone with a lot of information. So for me, trading the Ichimoku method today on this would be a no-no for this block right here. And I'll block it off in blue. This block here in blue would have been a no-no for me to trade Ichimoku. But if we look over here, we have an uptrend, but it's nothing strong, even though we have a nice green cloud. But by the way TK is behaving and the way price is crossing through and over, like I mentioned on my screenshots that I put up, the cloud's acting more as a support here than Kinjinsen was. So if you're going to be trading it, let's see if we could find something. Now this here looks excellent. Let's zoom out one, get a bigger picture. What we notice is price is rarely touching Kinjinsen here. It is touching Tenkinson, Timmy. I'm sticking to my names. Timmy, the blue one. It is touching there, but it's rarely breaking all the way through. And when it does touch Kinzen, Mr. Krabs here, you get a reversal. For me this would not have been a trade because of lack of confluence. Let me see what the time was on it. If I would have been able to pull a trade out of that one. 908. So let's go back to my other chart. And let's look at 908. Here it is right here. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able. It would have been close to a daily pivot for me, but here it is right here. So it's possible here I would have taken a trade because it would have been a daily pivot and then back down. But on my chart here, there wasn't anything around it, so I would have only been able to pull out one reason, and I really, really do prefer to pull out two reasons. So that probably would have been a pass for me. I, I don't like to just trade solo. But as you can see, the big difference in this is a distinct trend down, where this isn't a distinct trend down. It's a nice little range. Let's take a look at a couple more. UJ, let's zoom out one. So UJ, this is my day-to-day trading. If I want to take a look at it Ichi-wise, oops. Ichi-wise, we're in a trend. What am I looking for? I'm looking is price riding on top of Kinjinsen or riding on top of Tenkinsen. Ooh, you can rip me up about how I can say these names later, but it's riding mostly. It's not going near it. We do get it here. We would had a monthly resist line here, and it looks like an M15 support when it broke here. This would have been a really tricky one because it dojied out. As we can see, if we close in a little closer, best thing I probably could have whipped out of there was an ATM. Getting an ITM out of that would have been very difficult. And I would say after broker games, an OTM would have been your likely result there. But this right here is a trade that I would have looked for because I have two reasons here. If I jump to my other chart on that one, nothing there on it, but I could line up two reasons here. So I had two different support, a support and a resist level coming together. And if we look back on the history of it, there's no breaches of Kinjinsen or Mr. Krabs. So looks like it would have been a nice pullback off the upward moving trend. The next one, this would have been a pass for me. No confluence on it. Even if I go over to here, no confluence on it. Last one, AUD NZD. I don't mess with this one too much because the spread's always so freaking high on it. It has to be a really good setup for me. Euro GBP, no. This is cable. Nothing there. If we look at cable on Ichi, it's just coming out of the cloud, so we need to see what happens. This one's just a wait and see game. If we look though, green cloud, price is riding Tenkinsen. It's not touching Kinjinsen. So if we do get a pullback, then we are starting to look good. But that's basically it how I use it, guys. I know a lot of y'all were from some of the screenshots people were sending me, they were trading it when the chart looked like this, when price was just riding Kinjinsen all the time. Let me zoom in here so you can see what your charts would look like, I'm guessing, or something like this. This is the situation you want to avoid. When you see this, we know you got a ranging market. T and K riding each other. If it's a ranging market, then steer clear, trade it a different way. When it's like that, I trade it this way. When it is an obvious trend, I will trade it this way, and I'll wait for the little popbacks to here. Now, another thing you could look at, and this is just, maybe we'll get into it later because there aren't any real setups, when price is hanging really, really, really low and not touching Timmy or Mr. Krabs, you could look for a pullback off Timmy, but we're not going to get into that. I still got about 10 more minutes before I start trading. I'll trade up to about 8 till 10 minutes before 8:30 Central Standard Time. That's when the pre-trading ends, the U.S. bell rings. A lot of times you'll see some distinct movements around 8:30 to 9. So I take a break, get coffee, relax, and I'll pick up trading again here in about 10 minutes. But hopefully that clears up a few things for y'all. I saw some people that were taking some pretty squirrely trades that they had sent me and asked why it failed. And guys, the way I trade, maybe principle-wise or whatever you want to call it, I don't know. I'm not awake enough yet to describe it. You don't have to mimic the way I trade. Find what works for you. Find what you understand and use that. But hopefully it'll help you out with a few little pointers on what to look for when you're trading this method. You want a distinctive trend. You don't want a range, because a range is just going to, Kinjinsen's going to act as the middle line, as you can see here. And if it's the middle line on a range, it's going to keep getting blown through over and over and over because price is just moving up and down, back and forth. But hopefully that clears up a few things for you guys. I'll post the video up here in a bit. If you have any questions, just hit me up. And you have a great day.